The coworker said his name without looking up, like it was nothing more than a habit. The voice came from the next desk over, steady and close. What made it wrong was that everyone else kept moving. Shoes passed by. Chairs rolled. No one slowed down or turned their head as if the space where the voice came from was empty. He stood there longer than he meant to, waiting for someone to react. No one did. The office stayed calm, filled with low movement and quiet focus. When he finally looked over, the coworker turned and gave a small nod, the same one he always used in the morning. The same expression, the same posture. Nothing about him seemed off, and that only made it worse. As the day went on, the pattern repeated. During a meeting, the coworker leaned closer and murmured comments meant only for him. He caught himself nodding, almost smiling. Around them, no one responded. People spoke over the space between them without hesitation. When the coworker stood to get coffee, someone walked straight through where he had just been standing, not slowing, not reacting. He told himself it was a timing thing, a trick of attention. He focused on his screen and tried to ignore the pressure of someone sitting beside him. Later, he asked casually if anyone had heard from the coworker recently. The answers came back polite and distant. A few people frowned, like they were searching for context. Then the same explanation surfaced, repeated without emotion. The coworker had quit months ago. Clean exit, no goodbye. Most people barely remembered it. Human Resources confirmed it without hesitation. The record was already pulled up when he arrived. A resignation date sat on the screen, older than it should have been. The desk had been cleared, the badge deactivated. The person across from him spoke carefully, watching his face instead of the screen, suggesting stress, fatigue, a mix-up. "It happens," she said, "more than people think." That afternoon, he watched the coworker work like nothing had changed. Fingers moved across the keyboard. A pen tapped against the desk in a slow, familiar rhythm. The coffee mug was still there, turned just the way it always was. When he reached out, his hand stopped short, hovering in the air. A tight feeling in his chest told him not to cross that space. The emails started the next morning. The coworker's name appeared in the sender line, asking simple questions about shared tasks. Each time he clicked one, it vanished before the message loaded. The inbox refreshed. Nothing remained. IT found no trace. They suggested a display issue and moved on. The coworker began avoiding certain parts of the office. He no longer went near the conference rooms. He stopped using the elevators and mentioned the stairs instead, though no one ever saw him on them. When asked, he shrugged and said it felt easier. His voice sounded thinner now, less grounded, like it didn't fully belong in the room. The distance between him and everyone else grew harder to ignore. People felt flatter somehow, harder to hold in his attention. Names slipped when he wasn't looking directly at someone, faces blurred at the edges of memory. He started counting desks as he walked in each morning, just to make sure nothing had changed. Security agreed to review the footage after he insisted something was wrong. They sat in a dim room and watched the screen together. The timestamp matched the day he remembered. He watched himself enter, hang his jacket, sit down. He watched himself turn to the side and speak, nodding as if listening. He watched himself smile at nothing. The chair beside him was empty the entire time. No one spoke as the footage continued. He leaned closer on the screen, responding to someone who wasn't there. At one point, he shifted his coffee mug to make room. The space stayed clear. After that, the coworker stopped pretending. He didn't sit anymore. He stood close. His presence felt more than seen. His words came uneven, broken by long pauses. He asked why they were trying to erase him. He said he remembered leaving only because everyone else remembered it for him. He said memory was the last place a person could stay. Desks began disappearing, not all at once. One here, one there. The office adjusted without comment. Work continued. No one seemed bothered. When he asked about the empty spaces, people looked at him like he was describing something that never been there. One morning, he realized he couldn't remember the person who used to sit across from him. The desk was gone. The floor beneath it looked clean, untouched. The absence felt familiar, like it had always been that way. He turned to the side without thinking. The coworker was gone. The space beside him felt wider than before, stretched thin. The office felt larger, quieter, like sound had farther to travel. He sat alone, staring at his screen, trying to remember how many people were supposed to be there. The answer wouldn't come. As the day went on, more names slipped away. More faces faded once he looked elsewhere. Desks vanished one by one, leaving open space behind. The office stayed calm and orderly, filled with quiet movement and steady work. By the end of the day, he wasn't sure who anyone was anymore, including himself. The silence settled in around him, patient and complete, as if it had been waiting for him to notice it all along.